Title of the story is, Who's Going to Show Compassion? And now let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl who loved to smile and play. She looked like a princess. She began to walk to the park one day. And when she walked to the park, she began to play. She began to jump up and down and turn around and jump up and down and turn around. But then something bad happened. She fell down and she hurt herself and she began to cry. She needed someone to show compassion. Well, luckily there was a boy in the park throwing a ball. He had fun throwing his ball that his mom bought him the other day. But he stopped throwing his ball because he heard someone crying. So he put his ball down on the ground and he walked over to the girl who was crying. He got down on one knee. I thought he was going to help her and show compassion, but he didn't. He stood up, turned, and walked away. Did he show compassion? And the girl was still crying. Well, luckily, there was somebody else in the park. A big girl was jumping rope. She was having so much fun jumping rope, but she stopped because she heard someone crying. So she put a jump rope down on the ground and she walked over to the girl who was crying. She got down on one knee and stared at her. She kept looking at her. Like, I thought she was going to show compassion and help. But she stood up, turned, and walked away. Did she show compassion? But the girl is still in the park crying. But then there was a big boy in the park. He was exercising to be big and strong and healthy. But he stopped exercising because he heard someone crying. So he walked over to the girl who was crying. He knelt down and stared at her, and he did something different. He said, "Are you okay? Can I help you?" And she said, "Yes." And he reached out his big, strong hands and helped her up. He looked at her, and she smiled and gave him a big hug, and they became best friends. Did he show compassion? And then the rest of the actors held hands, and they took a bow. 1, 2, 3. The end.